Welcome to Education Lifeline. This is Trishita Paul, and today we'll be rationalizing denominators. Now, if you haven't watched our previous video on simplifying radical expressions, it will be linked in the description below, as well as in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Please check that video out before watching this one. As we discussed in our previous video, we want to put radical expressions into simplest radical form to make them easier to work with. Simplest radical form means the expression contains only one radical, the radicand is as small as possible, and there is no radical in the denominator of the quotient. Rationalizing a denominator means performing some operations to remove the radicals from the denominator. Suppose we solve a problem and get an answer like 5 divided by the square root of 2. More than often, teachers want radical expressions to be simplified into simplest radical form. However, 5 square root 2 is not in this form because there's a radical in the denominator. To simplify this expression, multiply the top and bottom by the radical in the denominator. In this case, we will multiply by the square root of 2. Five times the square root of 2 is simply 5 square root 2 over the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, which is the square root of 2 times 2, which is also the square root of 4, or simply just 2. Now, our answer, 5 square root 2 over 2, is now in simplest form. Now suppose we get an answer to a problem that is a little more complicated, such as 2 over square root 3 minus square root x. If the denominator has a sum or difference of two different radicands, we need to multiply the numerator and denominator by the conjugate to remove the radicals. To find the conjugate, all you have to do is change the sign between the terms. In this case, the conjugate of the square root of 3 minus the square root of x is simply the square root of 3 plus the square root of x. Multiply both the top and bottom by the conjugate, to get 2 times the square root of 3 plus the square root of x over square root of 3 minus the square root of x times the square root of 3 plus the square root of x. We can now distribute the denominator. The square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is 3. The square root of 3 times the square root of x is the square root of 3x. The square root of negative square root of x times the square root of 3 is negative square root of 3x. And the negative square root of x times the square root of x is simply negative x. We add the numerator. We can cancel out the terms in the middle, and we get, and the simplest radical form of the second expression is 2 times square root of 3 times the square root of x over 3 minus x. If this video was helpful, please drop a like and subscribe to Education Lifeline. Be sure to watch our other videos on exponents and radicals, and check the description below for other helpful resources. Thanks for watching.